Hey there. Last time I told you about my first ever GORUCK challenge welcome party. It was 2012, class 160 in Boulder, Colorado. I let you know about a huge disappointment at the time and how it turned into a great learning experience. Today, we'll wander around the forest again, and I'll tell you about the next 14 hours of that night. Let's go. So after about 45 minutes of PT in the parking lot, we headed into the forest and the fun really began. The welcome party is sort of like a graduation. Once you make it through that, then more advanced training can take place. So we walked deep into the forest, up into the hills, kind of like this. Of course, it was pitch black. It was nighttime. We couldn't see anything but what appeared in our headlamps. Cadre, he encouraged us to get to know each other as we walked. I thought it was going to be, all right, we do this and we do that, and you're going to do everything I say, and we're going to be very regimented and you know, no fun. But what I learned was that getting to know the other guys was part of the team building exercise. A very important part. We were making our way through the forest at night, and he introduced the scenario to us. Now, a scenario makes exercise fun. It makes, we like to exercise our imagination. We like to play games. And so the games began. We found 2 logs in the forest. We were directed to pick up these casualties of the zombie apocalypse. But it was really fun, the whole idea of getting casualties to the downtown Boulder hospital. So now we've got, you know, roughly half the team on one log and half the team on the other log. What really kept me going in that first part of the challenge, the first few hours of carrying those logs, was a sense of purpose. We had to get these casualties, these victims of the zombie apocalypse, to the hospital. We found strength in that purpose. You can use that in your own life. Like what I was talking about in the last video about dealing with pain, is purpose can help you overcome pain. But just like the challenge, the purpose doesn't have to be real. I mean, in fact, think about it. Is any life purpose really real? It's just something you've decided on, right? It may have impacts that are real to other people, or to yourself, or to your family, but your decision is just that, just a decision. That night, we all made a decision that we were going to get these logs to downtown Boulder. We were going to get these casualties to the hospital. And we did. I remember at one point, so there's 2 teams. About half of us are carrying one log and half of us are carrying another log. I even said 2 teams right then, but that's what this is about. Is that, you know, one bunch of guys would get a little faster and one would be struggling with some aspect of the carry, and someone would call out, "Team 1, slow down," or wait up or something like that. And the cadre would make the point in saying that there's not team 1 and team 2 or team A and team B. We're all one team. These are little flashes of brilliance that stuck with me. When you are when you have a purpose, you don't have multiple teams. You work as a team together. Because as soon as you break into team A and team B, say, then there's a potential, and you could feel it. There's a potential for competition. And competition does not get both casualties to the hospital. Competition gets one casualty to the hospital. Cooperation gets both casualties to the hospital. We made it to the hospital. We, honest to goodness, made it to the hospital. We didn't walk into the lobby with the logs and drop them on a gurney or anything, but we dropped them near the hospital, and we succeeded in our mission all night long, carrying those logs. The next phase, I recall, was an utter failure for me, and that was recalling details that Cadre had exposed us to along the way, carrying the casualties. I now know that they were KIM drills, K-I-M, keep in mind. That night's details were about sports teams and other details of that nature, which I had no, let's say, foundation to remember. But wasn't a failure, Cadre. I have since developed a whole game and procedure for enhancing situational awareness using KIM drills. So I may have failed. I may have failed that night, that morning, and I was ashamed then in front of him. But that failure has turned into a victory. So thank you again. Early that morning, we reached this play yard. It was really kind of cool how I remember it. It was a regular jungle gym kind of structure, but there was also a cave. I hope I'm remembering this right. And he told us to go search for a cache. So we didn't know what we were looking for, but we found 2 orange buckets, and we had to fill them with as much sand as we could at the site, and then we had to carry them. I'm sure everybody's familiar with those orange buckets, and they're thin little handles. Very uncomfortable carrying those handles full of sand. Those orange buckets taught us the next lesson in a different form of cooperation. So if you're a group carrying a log, the cooperation is obvious, right? You carry an item too big for one person to carry. You all carry it together simultaneously. And that's a great way to introduce the concept of cooperation. Cooperative effort, you might call it. Next level, individual yet purpose-driven cooperation. Buckets of sand with painful handles. How can we carry these buckets of sand for miles and miles. Even though each person could carry a bucket of sand easily, individually, there's no way any person could carry it all the way necessary without help. And the lesson comes not by carrying it the farthest, but by asking for help and for recognizing that even the person who carried it just 20 steps, me, is helping someone recover so that the next guy can carry it 20 more steps or 100 steps. So Cadre told us from the beginning, if we get ambushed by zombies, we were going to have to pay. And where do zombies hang out? Graveyards. So there was one time, a couple of times, but one time I remember clearly, the first time, we were going along, carrying our logs, and I looked over, and in the dark, I saw graves. I go, oh, that's what he meant. And so he stopped us, and from his iPod or somewhere, he started playing the theme song of SpongeBob SquarePants. And that's how we did our penalty PT. One of my greatest memories was making our way through the Sunday morning farmers market in Boulder and really feeling the camaraderie of the team by then, and all the looks that we got, wondering what the heck is going on, because by that time we were covered in algae and mud. Our faces and our whole bodies were green and, you know, like muddy gray. We come through the farmers market and we made a great impression on everyone. In a way, that was a public declaration of our solidarity. And I think that's important too in team building. Beautiful Sunday morning, but there's a problem. We're all out of water. Every one of us has our water supply is dry. So as we're walking through the neighborhoods, there's this, you know, this normal guy. He's watering his garden on Sunday morning. He figures, oh, I'm gonna have a nice little break here. Nobody's gonna bother me. All of a sudden, all these guys show up, and we ask him, can we refill our water bladders from your hose? So that was pretty funny. When I was feeling the lowest, I would shout, go! And my teammates would say, rock! And I would shout, go! And my teammates would shout, rock! And I remember one time, we were all feeling pretty low. I rallied myself up and I said, go! And they came back with rock. And I remember Cadre saying, hey, is that all you got for him? He put that much into it? Send it back. So I said, go! And they said, rock! That was a great moment. So we'd carried logs a long way. What about real people? A couple of guys, of course the heaviest guys, were designated casualties, and we had to start carrying them. Without experience, there is no easy way to carry a human being. We're weirdly floppy and heavy in the wrong places. And there's no way to learn except by doing. So that day we learned. So over that night we learned a lot of different kinds of cooperation. initially was even in the welcome party. Cadre taught us everybody's got to make it over the line at the same time. Then the next evolution was everyone carries a log together. Then the next one was everyone gets the buckets of sand to the end, but one at a time. So we're all working together, but individually. The most significant lesson of cooperation came at, I don't know, maybe hour 10. So we were beat. But it was at a public park, a great big green field with a tree up the hill a little bit. We got in a line, and similar to I'm up, he sees me, I'm down, we used the phrase Butta Butta Jam, which is the 3-round burst from an M16. So you're up, Butta Butta Jam, and I'm down. Using those as steps, we approached the tree. Now, of course, we all made it, but the exercise was a form of cooperation where everybody doesn't make it. It's like a pyramid. We all start at the bottom, and maybe a couple of guys make it. And so that's different than all of us making it to the end of the mission with the log, and all of us struggling with what we can contribute to carrying the buckets. We've become a team, and we've bought into the sense of purpose, and now we're willing to sacrifice to achieve for the team. And that's the pinnacle of cooperation, right? Self-sacrifice for service, for the purpose, for a goal. And that was an amazing moment that took me many years to realize what we were being taught that day. But that was a culmination of, and is a culmination of, cooperation. Thank you, Cadre. I don't remember how we got there, but we finally got back to the trailhead at Chautauqua Park. We have 2 pictures of that challenge, one in the pond and one at the trailhead. I'd say it was probably about 3 o'clock, so that's 14 hours of hard work, and then it was done. So we took that final picture and we all headed to our cars, except I didn't have one. 14 hours ago, my friend, my ride, had left. He didn't know when we were going to be done. He didn't even know if we were going to come back to that spot. I didn't have a cell phone. That was part of the rules. I didn't have my ID. That was part of the rules. I should have asked somebody for a ride. I didn't know where he lived. I didn't even know his phone number. And frankly, I was delirious. I had just maxed out myself for the past 14 hours, and I couldn't think straight. Little did I know that GORUCK challenge, my first GORUCK challenge, was just the welcome party for the next few hours in my life. But I'll tell you that story next time. Thanks for watching.